Hi, it's Emily. I am here today to make a tag. I wasn't technically tagged in it, but I did talk to the girl who posted the video on Twitter and she totally said I could make one of these videos. What I'm gonna do today is the A to Z book tag. I think it'll be a fun kind of way to introduce myself to you and also to talk about some of my favorite books. And also I just really love the questions. So this tag comes from Jamie at Perpetual Page Turner. I've loved her blog forever. Now she's making more frequent videos. So I will post both of those links down below. This tag originated actually on her blog and now she has brought it to BookTube. So I am all about bloggers who booktube, and so I just wanted to get this tag out there a little bit more. Okay, so the first question is, and the way this tag works is every question starts with a letter of the alphabet, obviously the A to Z book tag. If I can figure out how to put the questions on the screen, I will, otherwise they will be down below. Okay, number one, author you have read the most books from. Okay, so found this out on Goodreads. There's actually a pretty easy way to do it underneath your books. She kind of has all the instructions in her blog, but underneath over on the side where all your shelves are on Goodreads, it says most read author, and it told me that my most read author was Jim Butcher. So who knew? I've read 14 Jim Butcher books, which I guess that's what you get for this series being like 15 books long already and 23 books planned, and his other series being 6 books, which I didn't finish, but I did read 2 of them. So anyway, this Jim Butcher, author I've read the most books from. Best sequel ever for B, that I'm going to say Crown of Embers by Ray Carson. I mean, best ever, I mean, that's pretty broad, right? But this one, the reason I think it's successful is because I think it's actually better than the first book. I liked the first book, I loved this book. Oh, it's so good. Okay, so this is the sequel to The Girl of Fire and Thorns. I think it's way better than the first and really sets up the awesome close to the trilogy. So, currently reading a lot, actually. I used to be a book monogamous, but all of a sudden I'm just flitting all over the place. So right now I am reading Venge-Keep Prophecies by Brian Ferry, which is a cute little middle grade. I just kind of wanted a palate cleanser. It's about a family of thieves and I really like it so far. I'm also reading The Lowland, which I know I talked about on a previous book, and I'm reading this one with Adira from The Young, the Broken, the Bookish, and I will link her below, and it's really fun reading this with her. So anyway, I'm reading this right now. And then I am also reading on my Kindle a book for review called Child of the Hidden Sea by A.M. Delamonica, and I am also reading Sita Ganda by Lois McMaster-Bujold. I'm actually listening to that on audio. So those are the 4 things I have going. D, drink of choice while reading. Water, I guess. I'm not really, I mean beer, also beer, but water, I guess. It's kind of primarily water, but also beer. Okay, number E, winner. E-reader or physical book, both, as I just said, also audio. I am not a discriminator. I will read. You just give it to me, words, listen, I don't care. I'll read it, give it to me, I'll read it. Okay, F, fictional character you probably would have actually dated in high school. I basically made a series of bad decisions in high school, so I'm not gonna put that on really any of the fictional characters out there. G, glad you gave this book a chance. This was tough. I think maybe the one that jumps to mind is The Princess Curse by Mary Haskell. It was a middle grade, which at the time I wasn't reading middle grade. I also hadn't really been reading at the time, and so it was kind of, I think it was the first book I ever got out of my local library here where I live currently, and I think it just really brought me back into reading, so I loved it too. So Princess Curse by Mary Haskell. Hidden gem book. Okay, other than Princess Curse, which I totally really do think is a hidden gem book, you knew I couldn't make a video without mentioning The Goblin Emperor, right? Okay, Goblin Emperor. So, I love this book. I want everyone to read it, really, like literally everyone. So, The Goblin Emperor by Catherine Addison, total hidden gem. Everyone should read this book. Important moment in your reading life. I'm gonna go kind of with Jamie. She said discovering Goodreads. I think that really helped. One of my friends had kind of outed me and said she didn't think I was a reader, which at the time I really wasn't. And I was like, I'm a reader, I'm gonna prove it to you. And so I basically just started reading in order to hold up my claim to her that I was a reader. And that's like when Goodreads first came out, so she could see everything I was posting. So that was a big turning point. Also really discovering BookTube and blogs, but I discovered BookTube first actually. And Misty, again from the Book Rat, was one of the biggest, she was like the first one I ever found. I loved all of her videos. She recommended a ton of books and they just really got me back into reading. So those are 2 major turning points for me. Just finished Finnegan of the Rock by Melina Marchetta. This is, remember that library readathon I told you guys I was gonna do? Literally the only book I read was this. It was just long and not a quick read, but a really enjoyable read, so I didn't want to put it down. I really enjoyed this. This is a great book. All of Melina Marchetta's are excellent, but this one was really good because it's fantasy, which I love it. Okay, excellent. Kinds of books you won't read: cheating partners, harmed kids, bad writing. That's about it. Anything else? Fair game. Longest book you've read. Also figured this out from Goodreads. Memoirs of Cleopatra by Margaret George. 1,140 pages. I read that one on my Kindle, so I don't have it. I do have this one I just noticed, which is another Margaret George. She writes a lot of these like from the point of view of historical figures. This one obviously from the point of view of Helen of Troy. So good. This one's hefty too, but not that hefty, only 600 pages. So double this one was Memoirs of Cleopatra. Dang. That was a good book though. Worth it. Okay. Major book hangover because of, that's M. You know, I don't really get book hangovers because of specific books usually, unless it was just really bad and then I'm just in a bad reading mood. I tend to get book hangovers from reading too much. So one month, last month I read like 22 books. This month I've read like 4 because I'm just like, bleh. So that tends to be what causes them for me. Number of bookcases you own, those 2 right behind me. One book you have read multiple times. To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. My very first book report, I wrote on it in the 4th grade. My thesis, I wrote on it in college. I've read it a gazillion times in between. I think I also took a class on it when I was in law school. So yeah, To Kill a Mockingbird, all day, every day. Preferred place to read, in the bathtub, also in bed. Quote that inspires you. Okay, just go, I want everyone to pause, go to Goodreads, look up A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith, go to the quotes page, just read them all. They're all so good. It's like the most quotable book ever. This is one of my favorites. Look at everything always as though you were seeing it either for the first or last time. Thus is your time on earth filled with glory. Oh, how good is that? So true. Oh, I love that book. Reading regret. Spending a lot of time not reading when I was an English major and then when I was in law school. And then also spending a lot of time kind of being a genre snob. I'm very glad that I'm not anymore. Series you started and still need to finish where all the books are out. Probably this one. Into the Still Blue is the 3rd book in the Under the Never Sky trilogy. I really want to finish it. I just don't. I think it's because I own it and I always end up reading library books and stuff first. I think it's even signed. It is signed. Dang. I need to read this. I'm going to read this. Okay, next. 3 of your favorite all-time books. The Sun in Splendor by Sharon K. Penman, an excellent, excellent, excellent historical fiction. She's written a bunch. I love them all. This is her first and also a standalone, so a very good place to start. Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith, which I already said that I totally love, and also To Kill a Mockingbird. Gotta shout it out. Unapologetic fangirl for genre reading. I mean, not necessarily authors or whatever, you know, specifically for me, but I will fangirl over genre and YA and not being ashamed of what you have to read or what you want to read all the time. I think I spent a lot of time not reading because I felt like because of my education or because of wanting to talk to my friends about what I was reading, I had to read a certain kind of book, and honestly, I didn't want to read that all the time, and so I just ended up not reading. And so I'm a huge proponent of and will fangirl for just reading whatever the heck you want to read. So I totally am about that. Very excited for this release more than all the others. I'm excited for a lot of releases. I actually just did a blog post about this. One that stands out is Fool's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I love that series. It starts with Assassin's Apprentice, I want to say. I have it. Anyway, I have it back there. It's so good, and it's like a series of trilogies. There's a bunch of interrelated trilogies, and there hasn't been a Fitz and Fool book in a really, really long time, and I'm ready for more. Worst bookish habit, I'm gonna go with Jamie. I do dog ear pages. There's probably some dog ears in this. I don't care. It doesn't feel that bad to me, but I know it drives people crazy. X marks the spot. I've been holding this all this time because start at the top left of your shelf and pick the 27th book, and it happened to be this one. So there you go, pulled it down anyway. Why? Your latest book purchase? I got this one, All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I got it from a lot of people's recommendation, but I think I first heard about it from Max at Well Done Books, and I'm excited to read this one. And Z Snatcher book, a book that kept you up way too late. Probably Winger by Andrew Smith. I read that whole thing in one night. I just wanted to know what happened. It was really good. It was a very enjoyable and also not enjoyable book. Read it. Okay, I'm gonna tag 3 people. Lindsay Ray, who's on Twitter as Angelica Audacity, and I don't know if she has an official channel name, maybe that's it. Max at Well Done Books, and Adira at The Young, the Broken, the Bookish, all of whom I love, and you should subscribe to them if you're not already. All the relevant information's down below. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.